Welcome back, you beautiful nightmare. Yeah, you, sitting there thinking you're just another face in the crowd, just another story nobody cares about. Let me stop you right there. Because if you could see what they see when they look at you, if you could feel what happens in the room when you walk in, if you could hear the silence that follows your name when it's mentioned in conversations you're not part of, you'd understand why they can't sleep. You'd understand why they refresh your page. You'd understand why your absence haunts them more than your presence ever did. They see something in you that you've been trained to ignore, something that makes their comfortable little realities start cracking at the edges, something that reminds them of everything they're not and will never become. See, you've been looking at yourself through your own lens, haven't you? Through the mirror of your failures, your mistakes, your moments of weakness. You see the crying at 3 a.m. You see the times you didn't speak up. You see every moment you felt small, but that's not what they see. That's not what keeps them up at night. What they see is something far more terrifying. They see someone who's been through hell and didn't just survive, but learned the language. They see someone who's felt pain that should have destroyed them, but instead forged them into something unrecognizable. They see eyes that have stopped asking for permission, a presence that doesn't negotiate, a silence that speaks louder than their screaming ever could. You think you're ordinary. You think you're just trying to get through the day like everyone else. But here's what they know that you don't. You're not like everyone else. You never were. And the moment they realized that, the moment they saw that flicker of something ancient and unstoppable behind your eyes, that's when everything changed. That's when you became the problem they couldn't solve. That's when you became the name they can't stop saying. That's when you became the presence that altered every room you entered. They're not watching you because they care. They're watching you because they're terrified of what happens when you finally see yourself the way they see you. Let me paint you a picture. There's a version of you walking around in their heads, rent-free, taking up space they desperately need for their own sanity. This version of you doesn't match the one you know. This version is dangerous. This version is unpredictable. This version has already won games you didn't even know you were playing. When they think about you, and trust me, they think about you constantly, they don't see your insecurities. They see someone who survived their worst and came back sharper. They don't see your doubts. They see someone who learned to trust themselves more than any external voice. They don't see your pain. They see the weapon that pain created. You want to know the truth. The uncomfortable, earth-shattering, reality-bending truth. You scare them. Not because you're mean, not because you're aggressive, not because you've done anything to them. You scare them because you represent the one thing they can't control, can't predict, can't manipulate. You represent someone who's already died inside and came back without needing their approval, their validation, their friendship, their love. You represent freedom they'll never taste, and free people are dangerous. Free people don't follow scripts. Free people don't react the way they're supposed to. Free people make everyone else realize they're still in chains. Now let's talk about what happened while you were busy healing in silence, while you disappeared, while you went quiet, while you stopped posting, stopped showing up, stopped explaining yourself. They built a mythology around you. Yeah, you heard that right. They turned you into folklore. Every time your name came up, and it came up often, they added another layer to the story. Did you hear what happened to them? I heard they completely changed. I heard they don't talk to anyone anymore. I heard they're different now. I heard they're not the same person. And here's the sick part. They're right. You're not the same person. But what they don't understand is that you didn't change. You evolved. You didn't become different. You became honest. You didn't transform into something new. You finally stopped pretending to be something you never were. And that authenticity wrapped in silence, that's what turned you into legend. Because most people spend their entire lives performing, dancing for approval, shaping themselves into whatever gets them accepted. But you stopped performing. You stopped dancing. You stopped shaping. And the moment you did, you became undefinable, uncategorable, uncontrollable. They tried to figure you out. Oh, they tried so hard. They analyzed your old messages looking for clues. They stalked your social media searching for answers. They asked mutual friends about you, fishing for information disguised as concern. But every search came back empty. Every investigation led nowhere. Because you'd already left that version of yourself behind. You'd already burned the manual they were trying to read. You'd already rewritten your entire code while they were still looking for the original software. And nothing terrifies people more than someone they can't decode, can't predict, can't fit into their neat little boxes of understanding. Let me tell you what's really happening in their group chats. In their late-night conversations, in their quiet moments of reflection. They're comparing everyone they meet to you. Every new person is measured against the memory of your presence. Does this person have that same intensity? Do they have those same eyes that see through lies? Do they have that same energy that makes you question your own reality? And the answer is always no. Because you weren't just a person to them. You were an experience. You were a mirror. You were a test they failed. And now they're stuck chasing ghosts, trying to find someone who makes them feel the way you did, trying to recreate something they destroyed with their own hands. You know what's funny? They talk about you like you're a warning. Be careful with that one. They're not like us. They don't play by the rules. They don't care what people think. They're cold now. They're different. But what they're really saying is this. That person figured something out that we're still too scared to learn. That person escaped the prison we're all still living in. That person became free, and we're terrified of what that means for us. Because if they can do it, if they can break free, if they can become untouchable, then what's our excuse? Why are we still here? Why are we still playing these games? Why are we still slaves to opinions that don't matter? Here's the reality. You just leave their circle. You left their dimension. You didn't just cut ties. You cut cords to an entire frequency. You didn't just move on. You ascended. While they stayed stuck on the same level, having the same conversations, playing the same games, living the same loops. And now when they look at you, when they see you from afar, when they catch glimpses of who you've become, they're not seeing a person. They're seeing proof proof that their comfortable little world is a cage, proof that their rules are imaginary, proof that someone can survive without the things they feared. And that proof is eating them alive. They created a legend when they lost you, not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. Because the only way they could explain your absence was to make you larger than life. The only way they could justify their mistakes was to paint you as something otherworldly. The only way they could sleep at night was to convince themselves that losing you wasn't their fault, but rather an inevitable result of you being too much, too intense, too different. So they made you the villain in their story, the monster in their narrative, the chaos they barely survived, not realizing that every word they spoke, every story they told, every warning they gave was just adding to your power, was just making you more mythical, was just ensuring that your name would echo long after theirs faded into forgettable noise. Let's get into the uncomfortable part, the part nobody talks about, the energy. Because you've felt it, haven't you? When you walk into a room and conversations shift, when you speak and people lean in without realizing it, when you go quiet and suddenly everyone's uncomfortable. That's not in your head. That's not paranoia. That's real. You carry something now, something you picked up in the darkness, something you forged in the fire, something that can't be taught or learned or copied. You carry the energy of someone who's already survived their worst nightmare. And people feel that on a cellular level, on an instinctual level. They feel it in their bodies before their minds can process it. It's why they get nervous around you even when you're calm. It's why they watch their words even when you haven't said anything threatening. It's why they can't hold eye contact for too long, because somewhere deep in their survival instinct, somewhere in the ancient part of their brain that knows danger when it feels it, they recognize what you are. You're someone who's been to places they're terrified of going. You're someone who's faced things they run from. You're someone who's survived battles they didn't even know existed. You see, most people walk through life with their masks on, their guards up, their authentic selves hidden behind layers of performance and pretense. But you stopped wearing masks. Not because you're brave, not because you're healed, but because you've been stripped down so many times that there's nothing left to hide. The mask has merged with the face. The performance has become the reality, and what's left is raw, unfiltered, undeniable presence. That's what they feel. That's what makes them uncomfortable. That's what they can't explain when they try to describe you to others. They'll say you're intense. They'll say you're too much. They'll say you make them feel weird. But what they're really saying is this: you make me aware of my own fakeness. You make me conscious of my own cowardice. You make me question my own choices. Because when they're around you, even in your silence, even in your stillness, they can feel the weight of someone who's chosen themselves over comfort, who's chosen truth over acceptance, who's chosen freedom over safety. And that choice radiates. That choice emanates. That choice creates a field around you that either attracts the real ones or repels the fake ones. There's no in between. Let me tell you what happens in their bodies when they encounter you. Their heart rate changes, their breathing gets shallow, their mind starts racing, because you're triggering their shadow. You're activating the part of themselves they've buried, ignored, denied. You're walking proof that another way exists, and their system, their comfortable programmed system, goes into panic mode. Fight, flight, or freeze. Most of them freeze. They smile, but their eyes are calculating. They laugh, but their energy is tense. They talk, but their words are measured. Because they're in the presence of something their programming doesn't have a category for. You've become a walking contradiction to their reality. You've survived without the things they think are necessary. You've thrived without the validation they chase. You've built yourself without the blueprint they follow, and contradictions create cognitive dissonance. Their brains literally can't represent with what they've been taught. So they try to make sense of you. They try to find the trick. They try to discover the secret. But there is no trick. There is no secret. You just chose to die and resurrect repeatedly until you became something that can't be killed. That's not a strategy. That's transformation. And transformation can't be studied. It can only be experienced. Here's what they don't understand. That energy you carry, it's not something you created. It's something that was revealed. It was always there, buried under trauma, hidden under conditioning, suppressed under survival mechanisms. But when everything else was stripped away, when you were reduced to nothing, when you hit bottom so hard you went through it, that's when the real you emerged. Not the you they knew, not the you thought you were, but the you that exists beneath all identities, all labels, all stories. And that version, that core essence, it's terrifying to people who are still identified with their mass, because it reminds them of what they're not accessing in themselves. So when they say they can't explain what they feel around you, believe them, because it's not explainable, it's experiential, it's vibrational, it's the frequency of someone who's been compressed by pressure and emerged as something denser, harder, more refined. You're not who you were. You're what remained when everything false was burned away. And that remaining essence, that indestructible core, that's what they feel. That's what makes them uncomfortable. That's what they'll never understand, but will always remember. Now let's talk about your silence, because it's not silence, is it? It's a presence. It's a statement. It's a weapon you didn't even know you were building. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped defending your choices. You stopped participating in conversations that drained your soul. They called it cold. They called it bitter. They called it running away. But what you were really doing was reclaiming your power. Because every time you explained yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you, you gave them power. Every time you defended your truth to people who wanted to see you as the villain, you played their game. Every time you engaged with people who didn't deserve your energy, you betrayed yourself. So you stopped. And that silence, that deliberate withholding of your words, your explanations, your justifications, it drove them mad because they needed your participation to continue their narrative. They needed your reactions to feed their egos. They needed your attention to validate their existence. And when you removed all of that, when you went silent, they were left with nothing but the echoes of their own emptiness. They were forced to face the fact that without you, their lives were boring. Their conversations were shallow. Their existence was ordinary. You weren't just a person they lost. You were the mirror that showed them who they really were. And without that mirror, they had to face themselves. And most of them couldn't handle what they saw. Your silence became louder than any words you could have spoken. It became a narrative they couldn't control. It became a mystery they couldn't solve. It became a void they kept trying to fill with assumptions, projections, and stories that said more about them than about you. They said you were angry. You were at peace. They said you were hurt. You were healing. They said you gave up. You leveled up. Every interpretation they made was a reflection of their own internal state. And that's the beauty of silence. It becomes a blank screen onto which people project their own fears, their own insecurities, their own truths. And what they projected onto your silence revealed everything about them and nothing about you. You know what happened when you stopped speaking. When you stopped showing up to defend yourself. When you stopped trying to make them understand. You reclaimed your narrative. You took back control of your story. Because as long as you were engaging, explaining, defending, they had a say, they had influence, they had power over how your story was told. But the moment you withdrew, the moment you went silent, the moment you stopped participating in their version of events, you became the author again. And that authorship, that sovereignty, that's what they can never take from you. No matter how much they talk, no matter what they say, no matter how they try to rewrite history. Your silence stands as truth, unshakable, undeniable, yours. Let me tell you what your silence did. It created space. Space for you to hear yourself. Space for you to remember who you were before they told you who to be. Space for you to rebuild without commentary, without criticism, without the constant noise of other people's opinions. And in that space, you found something they'll never find. Yourself. Not the version they approved of, not the version they needed, but the real, raw, unedited version that existed before the world taught you to hide. And that version, the one you found in silence, it's the one they're seeing now. The one that doesn't need their validation. The one that doesn't flinch at their